3D Kiss Me Frog Prints Acrylic Nailer Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everybody! In today's video I'm going to show you a really cute little froggy. I absolutely love frogs. Frogs are something that I've always had a really big soft spot for in my heart. This is my second frog tutorial recently, so you guys have probably heard that before. This one is going to be a cute little frog print, and it says Kiss Me above it. It's got a gorgeous gradient in the background from a really bright kind of a pinky peachy color into a really pretty plum. I absolutely love that color combination, especially for kind of like a summery, sunsetty looking thing. So I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and these were Madame Glam colors that I used, and I will put the color names in the description box below as well as a discount code, so check that out. And don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
I'm going to begin with applying 2 coats of Pyjama Party, curing after each coat. Really gorgeous, gorgeous bright coral color. And then I'm going to take and paint half the nail with a color called Daddy's Girl. And then I'm going to be blending that out with my little makeup sponge. I'm going to do this without curing it. So just after you have it applied, just go ahead and start tapping it out with the makeup sponge. It doesn't have to be perfect after the first coat. You can always go through and add some more layers. So after that first layer is done, go ahead and do a second layer. And then I'm going to be blending it out one more time with Pyjama Party at the cuticle. Use a different area of your sponge or a different sponge to blend out that color. Once you're happy with the gradient, however many coats you end up doing, I'm going to take some black paint and write Kiss Me right near the cuticle. And so I started out with the I, and then I wrote the SS, and then I'm going to be adding the K in the beginning, and then write Me underneath that. And I used a different kind of a font for Me. So for the Kiss, I used a really pretty swirly cursive. And then for the Me, I used your classic block letter. So right underneath that. And I also added a little heart after the E of Me. And if you guys are wondering why I didn't start with an acrylic overlay on this nail, these were some nail tips I was sent as a like a tester, not a review necessarily, but as they were a prototype. And they have a super high arch where if you added any acrylic on top of them, they would have this crazy bump. So I decided just to do some designs on them with painting them instead of doing any acrylic first. This isn't the way that I would do it. If you're wearing it, you'd want to have an acrylic overlay, but just imagine that that's there already. So after you have all of that done, then I'm going to fill in the KISS just with really thin little white lines, kind of like nice little highlights on your letters. You don't have to fill in them entirely. You want to leave some of the black there, but just give them a little bit of brightness. Same thing with Me, little skinny white lines. If you need to dilute your white so that it's easier to work with, that's a great idea. And then I'm going to fill in the heart with just a little bit of a pale pink. Apply some gel sealer, cure it, and now I'm going to start sculpting my cute little froggy. So with green acrylic, I began with his head, and because there is gel sealer on the background of the nail already, prepare for your acrylic to spread more than you are used to if you are used to sculpting on a buffed acrylic or a buffed surface. If this is something that you're a little worried about, you can buff right under where you're going to put the frog. So just take a buffer block and just kind of go right down the center of the nail at the bottom. That'll help adhere the acrylic. There might still be some problems with it spreading, but if you're concerned about the 3D art popping off, which I've personally never experienced, and I don't think it's an issue, but some people seem to think that they might have that as a problem. If you just buff it a little bit underneath it first, that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. But after you have your frog's head done, and then I'm going to be adding his skinny little body, and then adding his legs on either side. Let's just go through and add the nice leg. Don't worry about doing anything too detailed here. It's a really small space to be working on to be adding your 3D frog. So however much detail you can add in, go ahead and do that. But say I didn't worry about adding little individual toes. I just did a foot and things like that. And with his arms, I did arms. I didn't even bother adding his hands. So you can obviously do more details than I did, but if you don't really want to go through the effort to add all of those tiny details that may or may not ever be seen, you can go ahead and skip them, I think, on this design especially. And now I'm going to be adding a shimmery white highlight of just a really shimmery acrylic on his tummy, and then on his like smile and lower on his chin. So don't do his whole face, but just under his smile. Add that, and it's fairly diluted acrylic. And then I'm going to be adding his little skinny green arms on the front of him. Like I said, I didn't do his hands, I just did his arms, so it doesn't take much to add those skinny little lines of acrylic. And then I'm going to take white acrylic, and I'm going to be adding his eyes. So just take small beads of nice bright white and place those down in the eye areas that you have Just kind of tap them out to give him that nice circle. And then I'm going to be adding his crown with metallic gold. So as you're sculpting your frog, you need to make sure that you sculpt his head starting out lower enough that you have room to add his crown without interfering with your lettering that's above that. So add a little gold crown, just like that. I love frogs, and I've done a couple different frog designs recently, so I hope you guys like frogs as much as I do, or you're probably thinking frogs again. But I will never get enough of frogs. They're something that, I don't know, they're so happy, and I love them. But add some details with black paint on your frog, add outlines wherever you want to, add the pupils in his eyes, his smile, his nostrils, all of that fun stuff. Make sure that you can really see him, outline his crown. And because of that problem with the acrylic spreading, I had a little issue with my gold acrylic because it has so much of that metallic gold pigment that it left a little bit of a residue on my background, so the lines weren't as crisp as I would like them to be. Anything like that can easily be fixed with your black outlining. And if you guys are, I know that a while, back when I was first starting to do some of this stuff, I absolutely dreaded doing outlining. It was one of those things that I got this pit in my stomach, like, ugh, I gotta outline now. This is the worst part of doing any of these designs. If you guys feel that way, dilute your paint. It's going to make such a big difference because it'll make the paint so much easier to work with. I hope you guys like this design as much as I do. Apply some matte top coat over your froggy. And if you guys are interested in those Madame Glam colors, I will list them in the description box below, as well as a coupon code, so check that out. And don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. Bye!